Welcome to the Caddo Convos, the podcast that explores the vibrant community of businesses thriving in Caddo Office Reimagined. We're here to shine a light on the incredible entrepreneurs and professionals who make the most of our private offices, co-working spaces, and day office rentals in the Dallas-Fort Worth suburbs. Join us as we share their stories, celebrate their successes, and dive into the benefits of working in a space that's close to home but offers so much more than working from home. Let's get started with today's conversation. Joining me today on the Caddo Convos here in Allen, Texas, is my old friend now, dclark of ProLift Garage Doors in West Plano. Dale, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me again, buddy.
Great to see you again. Let's talk about how do you help your customers at ProLift Garage Doors of West Plano? What's going on in your world?
Yeah, what's changed? I think a couple of things. We're expanded a few of our products that we're offering to customers. We're offering powder-coated springs, which provide a longer lasting spring, higher cycles, which basically means less maintenance and they last longer.
Great.
So we provide an extended warranty on those, typically 15 years or plus. And then the other part of it is we've started to service more commercial properties. So
great.
We've been blessed enough to do some large oil change, tire shops, and a few other things. And that's been good for our business as well. And it's been good just to engage more throughout the community in Collin County. We've been we office right here in Allen. We're also very visible at the Frisco Chamber of Commerce and the McKinney Chamber of Commerce. So we just enjoy engaging the community. And we also do some sponsorship for some kids soccer sports, FC Kings and McKinney. And so we're just, my goal is to be involved in the community, service the community through not just servicing garage doors, but also service in ways we can help the community.
That's great. And for those listening, I'll put a link in the show notes to Dale joined me about 6 months ago when we had our first conversation. So there's additional detail there for you to, if you want to catch up on what happened before with Dale and Buddy. So I want to break down the different parts of your business. Now, you mentioned the powder coating, and I know that's an interesting innovation, and you actually brought one here today, and we'll put a link to your website on what that looks like. But it looks pretty fancy, but it's effective, right? I mean, there's a purpose for powder coating. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, when you powder coat the springs, with essentially what you do is you help reduce oxidation. You have less rust. You have less maintenance as far as keeping lubing them up. You know, we still recommend you lube them.
Oh, yeah, sure. It's metal.
But it's not. That's right. It's metal. So you just be mindful of that. But the powder coating helps sustain that. That's
excellent. I see this one's blue. You know, and let's say for Cowboys fans, that's great. You know, why blue? Just curious.
Yeah, that's the ProLift
standard
blue.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Customized. It actually has my stencil on it, so it says ProLift Doors on it.
Great.
And so it's just really about the branding for ProLift Garage Doors. And so you can remember who installed your springs for you and service your garage door.
In case that someone put a sticker on mine, Dale, right above the opener. So that's air quote how I remember. But what's interesting with humidity in Texas, and right now this time of year, we're recording in May, it is crazy humid. That sticker is peeling off. So at some point I'm going to forget.
That's right.
But your powder coating and your branding allows for us to remember even 15 years later. You said a 15-year lifespan or warranty on these.
That's right.
Talk to me about what are people looking for? Obviously, springs break, and that's where you are here to help. What's going on with garage doors lately? What changes? What's happening to people in this area that they're calling you?
Yeah, one of the things I'm starting to see is people want to have more of a functional space in their garage door. And so as they do that, we're installing more high lift openers in garage doors. So basically, it goes up towards the ceiling.
Okay.
And so that gives you more functional space in your garage.
So there's less of a gap between the ceiling and the door.
That's right.
Gotcha.
So you're remodeling. So you're using your garage as a fitness space. Then people are using it there. So it allows you to use the entire height, obviously, and width and depth of the garage door. Another thing we do is we do garage door screens, right? So you let your garage door up right? And you pull the screen down.
Nice.
And that gives you functional space. So a lot of people who do woodworkings, again, people that are in the gym or using their garage as their home gym or other activities. Some people are using it for their office, quite frankly. And so if you want to, especially, during Texas, obviously during the super hot months, you may not want to be in the garage. But during those transitional months, it allows you to use your garage more frequently. And in the evening for hangouts, right? And you don't want to get eaten up by mosquitoes and you're hanging out and you and your buds watching, Cowboys games, or we got the FIFA World Cup coming in.
Oh, yeah.
So anything you want to do there in your garage, poker games, whatever, it just allows you to have more of a functional space, kind of be able to leverage that as a man cave or she cave, however you want to use it.
You mentioned World Cup. So you're active in youth soccer, correct? Or tell me about, you mentioned that very early in the conversation.
Yeah, we sponsor a team called FC Kings. They're based out of McKinney, Texas, and it's a team that does a lot of developmental work for youth ages. I think you're going 6 through kind of middle school. So I think he's doing 6 through 14.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we're proud sponsors of that team and watching them develop. Again, going back to the theme of community, I enjoy developing and mentoring is one of the things I enjoy doing personally, mentoring our youth, just pouring into them, because that's, kind of cliche, right? Children are our future, but it's true, right? And if we don't invest into it, if we aren't intentional about pouring into them, then we suffer down the road, right? And it's important for them to see many different aspects of the community, right? I have a unique perspective. I'm a veteran. I grew up in Ohio and I moved to Texas. My family's from Alabama. I've got a technology background, obviously entrepreneurial background. And so I just want to be able to share my life's experiences, because, for me, and I know my children, it takes a village, and they needs to see the multifacets of our community for us to truly thrive.
Yeah.
And so I just believe in investing in that. And so I've had an opportunity to invest in that team and, a few other things. We do a lot of volunteering at many food pantries and other volunteer works around. Lolo, who does some things here in the Allen area for seniors as well. So we enjoy supporting our community, everything from the youth to the seniors.
Excellent. And look for the links in the show notes for those as well, for the FC Kings and other great things Dale is doing. Talk to me, you mentioned you're a veteran. Tell me about your service, if you don't mind. Yeah. And thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you. Thank you for the support. Yeah, I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I'm a signal soldier. So I served my first duty station. Well, I started off in Georgia, Fort Gordon, Georgia. That's where former signal soldiers, they all know that's where we all go. And then my first duty station was Korea. I came back to Arizona, and from there I did what they call temporary duty station. So I had an opportunity to go to Naples, Italy, Germany, Saudi Arabia, Fort Bragg, South Carolina, spent some time at the Pentagon and a few other places, Fort Polk in Louisiana. So it gave me a good, well-rounded perspective of the world and also how people perceive the U.S. outside of the U.S., right? Because I think we have a very, I'll say, tempered view of ourselves, right, within a bubble. And so when you have an opportunity to get outside of that bubble and interact with people, I think you start to realize that as much as people think we're different, you realize that we're all the same in a lot of different ways, right? We all want to provide for our families. We all want to enjoy ourselves. We all have similar hobbies. And then there's other ways you can, obviously different ways we all worship, different ways we all celebrate and relax, but they're all fun. And so just being able to have those experiences, meet people where they are, share my experiences, and just realize at the end of the day, we're one community.
And speaking of community, how long have you been in town?
Yeah, I moved here in 98. So I separated from the military in 98.
Yeah.
And so I've been a Texan ever since.
That's great. What do you like best about the community you serve?
At the end of the day, the people, right? I lived in a lot of different places. People in the area have always been really good. I always tell people the further you go towards Fort Worth, the more down to earth people seem like they are. Sometimes people can be a bit pretentious, but in general, I enjoy the quality of the people that you meet. I think people have a tendency, if you see people in certain environments, maybe they have their walls up, right? Yeah. But if you just meet people and just have general conversations about what you're doing and what you're having going on and leave some of the other distractions out, you realize, man, that's a really good guy. That's a really good person, a really good gal, right? And so the fabric of the people I've enjoyed. I also enjoy, obviously, we're in the long start state, so I'll say the independence, but the ability to, support people who want to stand up their own thing, right, and do. And it's all within the realm of community, right? But it's supporting the independence of yourself, right, and respecting that, right. And I think we all have it, and we don't have to be so tribal in our approach when we do that, but being able to do that and being comfortable in the skin that you're in, and we're accepting each other, those are things I enjoy.
I imagine that translates right into how you run your business. So talk to me about the flow of, I'll just be a customer. The most common thing I would think is not being in your business, but it's happened to me, is that spring breaks.
That's right.
And that's usually at the start of I'll say Monday morning. To me, it happens, you walk out there and the garage door won't open. Talk to me about the customer journey.
Yeah, you can, obviously we can be found on Google, ProLift Garage Doors. And then you can also find us on social media platforms. ProLift Garage Doors West Plano is where we're located there. But customers reach out to us on a multitude of platforms. They either call in, some even just directly through the website, right? Which is proliftdoors.com /West-Plano. But the cool thing about that is that people can come in, you call in, you provide your zip code, and you tell us what your problem is, and then we immediately try to get you on the calendar as soon as possible. So those broken springs, to your point there, they always happen at the most inopportune times, right?
There's never a good time.
You're getting ready to drop the kids off. You're getting ready to go to the doctor's appointment. You got to get to work as soon as possible. And pop, there goes those springs, right? Now, sometimes it happens over the weekend. You're watching a game and you can hear it in the house.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. And so, I always, look, one of the things I always recommend to people is be proactive, right? Don't be reactive, right? If you were to let someone come out, you should service your garage door, your springs, your garage door system at least annually, right? And that's something we can do. We offer tune-ups to our customers. We have an $89 tune-up. Come out and service your garage doors. And so we're always happy to do that to help prevent that, right? And I always tell people, listen to your garage door, right? It's making noises. It's doing little things before it happens, right? So don't let a little thing become a big thing. Give us a call. Let us service it. We can usually kind of identify what's going on. If the door isn't properly balanced and the springs are getting weak, we can kind of let you, again, it gives you hints. People just aren't cognizant of them, or they just outright ignore them. Yeah. And another thing I'll mention that happened recently, I have a customer in McKinney, actually. She called me and she said, hey, someone, ran into our garage door. Can you come out and look at it? And anyway, she sent some pictures over, and it took a pretty solid lick on it. Usually when I see it's like maybe one panel at the bottom or something like this one. This was like 2 or 3 panels. But the point is that we could get out there very quickly, give her some options, and get things turned around. If you need whether it's replacing a section or replacing a new door, we can usually get that done within 48 hours, and sometimes a little bit better for all, again, standard garage doors and price, colors.
And that's the ounce of prevention. I mean, for just a small fee, I imagine you can identify things that are definitely going to become a problem. And garage doors are dangerous, right? One, they're very heavy, surprisingly heavy, especially if there's some of the materials, the heavy materials, wood or other heavy metals. But not to mention, if that spring breaks and you're anywhere near it, you don't want to be near it. There are cables and other things. And that's why the professionals, just like you treat your car, your body is, regular maintenance, your teeth, if you're going to the dentist twice a year, have someone come look at your garage door once a year. It's a very small fee, and it may save you not only injury risk situation, but it will also prolong the life of your garage door.
Yeah, you get at least 2 to 3 years if you're maintenance in that garage door, and sometimes more, right? It also saves you time, right? Because again, it always happens at the most inopportune time when you're trying to get somewhere to get things done. So definitely love to be able to, help service them and just help people. Like you said, there are little things we can kind of teach you to look out for, and little things that we can teach you how to do yourself as well, right? We're all about having an educated customer, right? An educated customer is typically your better customer, and that way you can avoid those surprises. And so we all about educating the customers how the door works, what you ought to be looking for, what you ought to be listening for. So it's moving a little bit slower than before, right? That means the opener is working. Some people think that they can just go in and replace the opener. It's kind of like the best analogy I always use for people is that when you can go out and buy new tires because your old tires were worn. But if you don't get the wheels aligned, those tires are going to go bad twice as fast, 3 times as fast as you. It's the same thing with your garage door, right? You can replace the opener, right? But if you didn't take care of the root cause of the problem, you're going to be right back at square one again. So people think, and look, I get it, right? As DIYers, and I'm not against that. I've done things myself, but just be cognizant of knowing what you're doing if you're trying to do it yourself. The other thing I would also warn you of is who's doing the work as well. Right. We spend a lot of time being Google verified. We spend a lot of time BBB. We're on the Better Business Bureau. We're on the chambers. We're a reputable company. We have an office space. And so we're easy to find, right? We're easy to research the quality of our work. And we're proud of that. You can look at our Google reviews and everything, right? But if you find a guy, and I call it a chuck on a truck, right? If you find someone he's in business and, hey, I can fix your door for, $200, right?
A made up number.
That's right. And it doesn't matter, who it is. I'm just making a bit of, brevity to it. But the point is that just know who's doing it because one, maybe whether you realize it or not, your garage door is their primary access to the home for most people, 70% of Americans, right? And so your garage door code can be cloned. Your remotes can be cloned. So when you're away, people can come in and out of there. That's why there's an extra step of verification for us, just like locksmiths, when we go through the business verification.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's thing number one, right? But every chuck on a truck doesn't have that verification because they haven't gone through those processes, right? And so knowing who's working on your door matters, and then being able to find them after they work on your door, right? The guy who did it for $200, you may or may not be able to find him later, right? When you really need the problem, but you can find us. So give us a call, ProLift Garage Doors, West Plano. We'd love to be able to help you.
Is there a busy time of the year for you, Dale?
Typically during the seasonal changes, right?
Yeah.
When we go from summer to extreme cold weather. That's when extreme cold weather is when the metal becomes more brittle, more likely to break. Same thing during heat, right? When the weather comes, the weather's changing now as we're starting to get more consistently into those higher temperatures. We get more calls there as well. So in the May, June, July timeframe, we get those calls because now that, again, that temperature changes with the metal, the screens are popping. The other part of it is that people are utilizing their garage doors more in the summer.
Frequency
right?
of
because kids aren't at school, right? They're going, again, 70% of Americans, right? And that's not just you, it's you and your kids, right? Going in and out through the garage door. And so now because you're having more cycles, more utilization on it, things more likely to happen at that time.
That makes perfect sense. It's a machine with lots of moving parts, and it's susceptible to barometric pressure, moisture, all of those things.
All of those things. And your garage door is the largest moving component at your home or business, right? I say a lot of this around the residential, but we also do commercial. It's the largest moving component, right? Dock doors, where we have semi trucks in and out. We're servicing those as well. But yeah, and so because it's the largest moving component, people quickly ignore it. But when it fails, you know it, you feel it one way or another.
Tell me about your ideal commercial customer. Who are you looking for that you can serve the best in that space? Yeah,
I get really 2 types. I get tire shops, which are really good, and auto shops like oil change locations. A lot of times, same thing, right? Those guys, again, they have high cycle doors. Some of them have very beautiful full view doors, which means they're made out of all glass, right? You can see in there. And so being able to service those doors, getting them, sometimes maybe on the service contract or making sure we can get to them rapidly because for them, time is money, right? Door isn't out, bay's out. We need to get them up and operational ASAP. So, we're local. We can get things done pretty quickly. The other part of it is apartment complexes, right?
Interesting.
They're very similar but they just have a high quantity of doors, and renters don't always maintain them that well, right? You're renting, so you're just kind of in and out, just like a rental car. And so being able to, and those, obviously apartment complexes have a fleet of garage doors. And so just making sure we can get to them and being close in proximity so we can get things knocked out for them quickly.
Yeah, because that's also a service that they need because if one of their renters is trapped, they can't get their car out. They need someone that can take care of that quickly.
That's right.
And they're certainly, a lot of them aren't even first time homeowners yet, so they don't know what to listen for. Dale, if they're hearing sounds or whatnot, they might ignore them. One, they don't own it, but two, they just aren't accustomed to owning that sound and that issue. So,
that's right. They just push the button if they're the garage door, because let's say that spring pops, right? And you keep pushing the button. Not only did the spring pop and break, now the garage door opener is getting, it has to work. That's right. It's got to work much harder. And so now you're in fear of that failing as well. So just being cognizant of that. And like you said, a lot of first time renters in the apartment complexes just aren't aware of those things. So.
Well, someone who doesn't have a garage door, to my knowledge, is Caddo Office Reimagined. Not yet, right? I don't see them having that yet. But you and I both have offices in Caddo. I'm at the Westridge location in Frisco, and you're here in Ellen. Why did you choose Caddo as your home base?
Yeah, I choose Caddo. For me, I explored a lot of different spaces. Caddo for me was they had a fair price for what they were offering.
Yep.
They had the month-to-month option. So originally when I was going into it, just not really knowing how long you wanted to be. So it's kind of like relocating when you move somewhere, right? You rent for a minute to see if that's where you really want to be. And so they gave me the option to come in and get a feel. I actually started off with a social membership. That's what we call it back then.
Yep.
And then I got my own suite. But what I enjoyed was the sense of community. Right. The ability to talk to other entrepreneurs, other businesses that are in the space. Some of them may or may not be adjacent to you, but either way, we all learn from each other. Right. There's a gentleman who's one's a chiropractor. The other one is a massage therapist. And we just talk about business, right? Kind of talk about, hey, marketing, SEO, things like that, right? Commonalities. And so being able to meet and talk with other entrepreneurs, talking to people like yourself, right? We have some great conversations. I've enjoyed that. And so the sense of community, and I think the Caddo team, I've met some of the teammates from their corporate office, and they do a really good job of trying to create networking events for us. We just had a fiesta here. Yeah. So customer appreciation. Most of the building managers are very accommodating. There are a lot of resources, just like us having this conversation today, the Caddo conversation. I enjoy that. I also enjoy visiting the other locations and just being able to leverage and talk to other business owners, but also share about my business as well.
Yeah, with 10 locations, it's a sizable community in the DFW area.
And growing.
That's excellent. So again, I urge everybody to check the show notes for some of the links to the things Dale and I've talked about today. But for people who need to know you, what would you say to them to close out the show?
Need to know me from a garage door perspective?
Both you as a person and because you're active in the community, but you're also running an important business that serves the community.
Yeah, I think the first of all is I enjoy helping. Right. And so if you have opportunities where, because sometimes a lot of people think you've got to volunteer or sponsor, money, but sometimes it's about sponsoring time, especially with the youth. I enjoy doing that. So please feel free to reach out to me. I enjoy those opportunities throughout the Collin County area. The other thing for us is, for me, it's about serving and being involved. So if I have an opportunity to help you service your garage door and help you, avoid some of those inconveniences by being proactive, not letting that little thing become a big thing, then we'd love to be able to hear for you. So our motto is ProLift Garage Doors. We lift you up. We won't let you down. And so give us a call. We'll love to be able to help you and serve you.
Excellent. Well, Dale, thanks for being on the Caddo Convos today. And I enjoy, getting to see you again and hear from you again and just spending time with you. I appreciate you.
Always a pleasure, buddy. I enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on the Caddo Convos podcast. A huge shout out to our incredible network of members for making our community vibrant and supportive. If you're looking to boost your productivity and reduce the isolation of working from home, consider joining us at Caddo Office Reimagined. Our spaces are designed to meet your evolving needs, support remote work, and foster a sense of community that's hard to find at home. Whether you're a startup aiming for growth, a freelancer seeking a professional setting, or a company looking to optimize resources, Caddo offers a perfect blend of flexibility and innovation. By joining us, you'll be a part of a dynamic business ecosystem that helps you thrive. For more information, visit caddooffices.com. Thanks for listening, And we'll see you next time on Caddo Convos.